Welcome to Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino. Our guest today is Marty Mercer. Marty's life has been impacted by the role of doors. Yes, doors. He became an Eagle Scout by teaching the local Girl Scouts how to sell cookies door to door. His first sales job was selling educational books door to door. Walking through a new door led to his selling over $130 million of software to over 500 hospitals and experiencing 4 corporate mergers. He's been downsized, right-sized, outsized, and finally shown another door. 4 years ago, Marty decided to walk through a new door and start a new career. He wanted to mix his sales skills with his love of teaching. He has combined his 25 years of successful sales experience in the complex world of technology sales with his passion for helping others achieve their goals. In the last 4 years, he has worked with over 4,000 sales reps, coaching them on over $525 million in sales opportunities. Today, we'll learn a bit more about Marty, his business, and the impact he can have on your sales team. Marty, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Diane. It's a pleasure.
Well, thank you. Marty, what was the decision, or how did you come to the decision to leave corporate sales and get into sales training?
Well, that's a kind of funny story. It really wasn't my decision in some respects. The introduction referred to the 4 corporate mergers that I had gone through, and finally the 4th one was the gotcha. That company was sort of spiraling down, and so as part of that spiraling down process, they decided to do a reduction in force, and a whole bunch of people were let go on the street, and luckily I was one of them. So I do consider that to be one of the better days of my corporate career because it let me take a step back, assess where I wanted to go, what was my best skill set, what were the things that I liked to do, what did I do best, what did I love doing. And so out of that process, out of that assessment process, came this idea that I would just step on the other side. So instead of being on the sales team, I would step on the other side, get involved with sales training, and work with sales organizations to help them improve their effectiveness. So it really was a blessing in disguise.
So Marty, tell me, what does your typical client look like? I mean, what is their profile?
The best customers for me are folks who are in a technology kind of sale. So I don't work with every kind of sales organization. So if you're selling cars, not for me. If you're selling phones or photocopiers, not going to be the world that I'm in. So this is a B2B type sale. Mm-hmm. Tends to be larger companies, organizations that would have at least, say, 12 to 16 sales reps. So selling software, selling hardware, maybe internet services, database products, for example. They could be a narrow kind of focus, departmentally focused, or it could be large enterprise. So I work with companies who sold things for just $10,000 and $20,000, and I work with large enterprise companies that sell things for like $10 and $20 million. So these kinds of sales have characteristics of things like a high price point, a large and long sales cycle. In fact, some of my customers have sales cycles of 2 years, 3 years. So it takes a long time to sell some of these things. There's lots of people on the buying side, lots of layers, lots of politics involved. I know politics is now the big topic of conversation, different kind of politics, but it's a lot of politics. So the sales strategy is not just about tactics and skills. It's really more important about what your sales strategy is. So those are the kind of customers that fit best for me.
What do you bring to a client? What are your deliverables, and how do you work with your customers?
I work with a couple of different companies in town as a contractor, and so they've got their own intellectual property. They have their own class. Mostly what I do is 1 and 2 day face-to-face training. Smallest 12 people in a class is largest 40 people in a class. I've done some larger, but that 20 to 40 person class is sort of the sweet spot. 2-day class is the typical kind of session that we do. So instructor-led, lots of exercises, lots of activities. The key thing is that there's nothing generic. There's no generic role plays or case studies. They all bring an opportunity to class that they're working on. So what I've seen from sales reps, they kind of have ADD a little bit. I've recognized that as I've gotten older, I guess, have a little ADD. And so they lose interest quickly if it's not about them. And so all of the classes we deliver are helping them figure out a better way to sell that opportunity that they're currently working on. Second thing we'll do is some web refresh. So after that first training, there might be a series of webinar refresh type stuff, GoToMeeting or WebEx to reinforce those ideas. And the third thing we have is a software tool that integrates with their CRM, their customer relationship management system, typically Salesforce.com, so that they can use that software tool to build out these sales strategies and communicate that with all the people that are on their sales team. So those are the 3 key ways of delivering the solutions.
What are some of the measurable impacts and outcomes that your customers take away after you've trained them?
Well, it's all about sales, right? So the number one thing they want is the increase in sales, increase in revenue. Now, it's tough these days. With the economy over the last several years, a lot of sales organizations their sales have flattened out, that maybe they've been declining. So they're looking for things in the following areas. They're looking for getting back up to their revenues where they were before, growing the size of their sales and revenue, looking for an increase in pipelines and funnels at the individual sales rep perspective. Another metric possibly is how many of their reps are making their quota. The more they're making their quota, then that means they're doing a better job of that sales effectiveness and sales training. So those are some of the key metrics. I have a couple of customers that have actually increased their sales in the last couple of years as much as 30%.
Wow.
Now, I'm not going to say it's all due to my training and all due to my skills. I'd like to think that was the case, but I do know for several of those clients that we've had a significant impact on their sales team. And so, yeah, they have a great product and they have sharp, smart salespeople. Disciplined sales management is another key. But we've been a nice part of their team to help them grow. So it is possible in this down economy to grow your business.
Now, I know you offer some other services other than sales training. Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, the other thing I'm really passionate about is presentations, communication. When I was in the sales world, I spent most of my years as a VP, and so the role I played oftentimes was the front man, the guy that opened the presentation, maybe the guy that stood back up in the middle, and the guy that closed the presentation. So I'm taking those skills and working with salespeople again, because frankly, most salespeople's presentations are terrible. They have awful PowerPoints. It's death by PowerPoint, small fonts, lots of bullets. It's just awful. And so I work with those organizations and their VPs to build presentations that are impactful, that are engaging, that pop, so that when they get done with that presentation, it actually becomes one of the differentiating characteristics of that company and their product besides just the product. In other words, your product is going to help you win, right? But what you want to be memorable and repeatable, and so that presentation is a key part of that. So that whole building a better, more powerful presentation is another big chunk of business I work on.
Marty, thank you for coming on the show today. I really appreciate you sharing your time with us.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Great. We've been talking with Marty Mercer. Marty can grow your sales, engage your audience, and transform your life. Thank you for joining us on Business Notes. I'm Diane Bogino, bringing you business ideas you can bank on.